Okay, how to work with scratch art paper. So the first thing you need to know about it is the more you touch it, the more it will be difficult to work with. So the oil from your fingers gets onto this when you touch it, and it makes the black not want to scratch off. So be sure to, whenever you're working, when you're drawing any of this, I'm going to give you half sheets of paper. I want you to keep that on there so you're not resting your hands on the scratch art paper. So if I'm going to draw on it and I'm going to rest my hand here, I'm going to make sure I have paper underneath it. Then I am going to be looking at my original design, and I asked you to think about black and white for this. It's going to be black and white. Now, usually you're used to, if you draw, it's black, and if you leave it, it's white. Now it's going to be the reverse. So you've got your drawing here, you've got your paper underneath you here, and I know that anything I want white, like if I want a whole section here that's going to be white, I'm going to scratch off the black. So I'm looking at this section here. So if I want that all to be white, and you want to pay attention to the direction you're drawing, because you're going to get this nice texture. I'm not going to scratch it all off, and I'm going to get this nice texture that shows the direction of my line. So keep that in mind. Now the other thing with scratch art paper is you can't erase. So you want to be very careful. Now I want a black outline here, so I'm just going to go on both sides of it. Make sure I end up with a black outline. Then I want some shapes in here, and I'm just kind of working down. And those shapes inside of them will be black, and outside of them will be white. So again, I'm going to think about the direction I draw. And I don't want to scratch off anything I don't want. You can also think about, this is cross hatching. So be creative. You're creating these wonderful textures with your line work. So keep that in mind as you work. And of course, every now and then, you're going to want to lift up your paper because you want to see what you're doing. So, you know, I might work with, I want to get this whole thing mapped out here. I know the label's going to be about here. So I want to have a pretty, and you can see I did the shape already. I want to know where I'm going with this drawing ahead of time. So I will probably, before I do a lot, I'm going to get my basic shapes going in here, at least outlined, and then I can come back in and do the other texture, creating all the variety of lines. So here I'm just going to go through here and get all the shapes drawn, and again, every line you draw comes out not black but white. You know, I'll probably go in, I'm going to use a reference for the Coca-Cola. I want to look it up on my device and make sure I know what the words Coca-Cola look like. I probably will use a ruler, and you can use a ruler on here just fine for these lines across here. So that's the basics of scratch art, is that you want to keep your hand off of it, and everything you draw is going to be white. Plan it out first so you know where you're going with it. Try not to make any mistakes, because guess what? You can't erase them. So if you have everything planned out first, it'll give you a lot better sense of what you then want to scratch off later. And be sure to reference your original drawing in your sketchbook so that you know what you wanted black and white to begin with.